Welcome to County Fair on Waycross Community Media. I'm Government Programming Coordinator Dana Gagnon, and today we're going to take a few minutes to make sure we're all ready to vote in the November 2nd, 2021 election. One reason we're going to do that is because usually in a presidential year, we are very aware. By the time fall comes along, we know there's an election coming, we know we have choices to make, and we know who we have to choose between. In a non-presidential election year, the statistics show us not as many voters go. And I think not as many voters realize that there is a really big impact that they can make, especially in those non-presidential years. Those are the years you are looking at things on your ballot, like your village council members, your city council members, your township trustees, your school levies. There are county levies, things that support child services or county parks. All of these kinds of things will show up on a ballot in a non-presidential year. Now, the trick is you won't hear as much about these local races on larger commercial stations. So that's why we're making sure we take extra time to talk about these things on Waycross Community Media. As a matter of fact, I will talk a little bit more about how Waycross will help you connect to the research you need to do for your local candidates. So make sure you keep watching for that. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention is that you can find all the information you need for this election, for any election that you vote in Hamilton County, on the Hamilton County Board of Elections website. That is votehamiltoncountyohio.gov. You go to that website, you can find out how to register, where to vote, what does your ballot look like, anything, what are the dates things are open, things are due by, what are the deadlines, all of that is on that website. So make sure, just bookmark that website, because every year there's going to be things you're not sure about, things that are coming up, you're not sure who's on the ballot. That's your ticket, votehamiltoncountyohio.gov. Now, some of the deadlines that we're going to find when we look at that site is the last day you can register to vote for this election is October 4th. Circle that day on your calendar, because if you haven't registered to vote in Hamilton County yet, or if you registered to vote somewhere else and you haven't gotten around to making sure you're registered at your new address, or you've married and changed your name, if you want to make sure you're in the poll book at the correct location, with the correct address, with the correct name to make voting go the most smoothly it possibly can for you, October 4th is your deadline. Make sure you check that. If you are not even sure, if you're thinking, well, gosh, it's been a while since I voted, I'm not sure if I'm registered, I'm not sure where I'm registered, you can go to this Board of Elections website. Just look up your name, look up your address, see if you're registered. Now is the time to check that before October 4th, because now is when you can do something about it. Now, if you miss October 4th and you watch this later, go ahead and register anyway, because now you'll be all ready for the next election and you won't have to miss out or question it, and you'll be all set. The next date you're going to find on the Board of Election website to keep an eye on is October 5th. October 5th is the day that absentee voting starts. Now, in Hamilton County, absentee voting also means in-person early voting. That's a form of absentee voting. So October 5th is when you can begin to vote. Now, if you like to vote in person on Election Day on November 2nd, that's not one of the dates that you need. But if you're not sure, if you think, I don't know what I'm doing on November 2nd, absentee voting is a way to make sure your vote counted. And that's important, because remember, the things we're voting for this year have to do with our local government. Our local government are the folks making decisions that directly affect your neighborhood. Do you have a curfew? Does your local street get paved? Are there too many bumps in your road? Is your school district doing this or that? These are the things that are affected by this ballot. These are things that we don't necessarily talk about at the national level, but the decisions they're making, which businesses are they going to attract right into your community? This ballot is really important. And I don't think I can say it enough on county fair or anytime I'm talking to anyone that it's the off years, the non-presidential election years, where if you go to the polls, you can be sure that when you cast your vote, it has the absolute most impact. Does it have impact other years? Of course it does. But right now I want to talk about the impact you have when you're voting for things that affect directly just your neighborhood. So come back to that. October 5th begins absentee voting, which also means early voting. So make sure you mark that on your calendar too. Now, a few more things to be aware of for this particular election is that every year the Board of Elections has to decide which polling locations they're going to be keeping open. That depends on a lot of different things. Hopefully we'll have a chance to maybe get to talk to them and ask them what some of those components are, but because each site has different requirements, and then, of course, with COVID, the requirements changed again. So the place that you used to vote might not be the place that you need to vote this year on November 2nd. So make sure that that is one of the things you look at when you go to the Board of Elections website. You can click Find Your Polling Place, and it will tell you exactly where you need to vote. Now, why does that matter? Why can't you just go anywhere in Hamilton County and vote? Well, this is why it matters. The things on the ballot in your neighborhood are the things that affect the people that live on your street, your school district, your city council, and such and such like that. If you go to another part of the county, the reason they won't let you vote there is not just because they're mean, but that's because on their ballot are the things for that neighborhood. That's a different school district. That's a different town council. They want to make sure the people voting for those things are the people affected by those things. So that's why it's really important to make sure you look up your polling place ahead of time, go to the right spot, you'll get the right ballot, you'll be able to vote for the right things that affect your neighborhood, your block, and your street. Now, there's more things you can find on the website too. One thing that the Board of Elections is in great need of every year is people to be poll workers, people who can take that one day plus a training day ahead of time and make the election run smoothly. If you watch the elections every year and you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this was happening. And oh my goodness, I'm hearing all these reports about people that are having a hard time understanding how to do this. You can be one of the people that helps it run smoothly. There's a training, you have to take the training. They make sure there's the same number from each party working at each polls, which means they constantly have a need for more people to do that. And that's even greater right now because traditionally and statistically, the people who work the polls tend to be higher in age. A lot of those are folks that are isolating, especially as Delta COVID variant comes back out again. They're thinking maybe they're not ready to do such a group activity again. So there is a very great need for poll workers. If you're interested in that, you can go to the Board of Elections website and find out how you can connect with them and be one of the poll workers on Election Day. It really is. And I'll say this as your host, but as someone who has worked as a poll worker for Hamilton County, it really helped me understand a lot more about how election works in the county, in the state of Ohio, and also the great lengths they go to make sure everything is fair and everything counts and everything is done correctly. So I highly recommend that. Another really important part of the Hamilton County Board of Elections website is the fact or fiction section. You scroll just a little ways down the front page of their website, you'll find a box where it'll say fact or fiction, and then a statement that you know you have heard from your friends or you have seen online. And it's a little bit of a quiz. What do you think? Is this fact or is this a fiction? I think that really everyone, whether you're registered to vote, whether you feel like there's nothing to look like on this website or not, go to the website and read those because there are a lot of misconceptions that somebody said once, somebody said at your family picnic, somebody posted online, and it just becomes a thing that everybody thinks about elections. A lot of those are not true. And if you want to be ready to vote in a way where you feel really good about the fact that, yes, they're working hard to make sure that my vote is fairly cast and that it counts and everything goes smoothly, that's the section to go read. Read that section, share that section with your friends. If you have a teenager in your house getting ready to vote for the first time, have them read that section with you, because there's a lot of great education to help counter some of the things that people are saying and the things that you're hearing that are true. You'll find it right there on that part of the website. So make sure you take a look at that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to elections, any election, the election that we're looking forward to in November and any other election, is to make sure that you're casting an informed vote. In other words, do your research. Now, doing your research is tricky when you're not sure what's going to be on the ballot and when you're looking at local races, because the larger national and regional commercial stations really don't have the airtime to look at little village offices and city council and local school districts. They just don't have time to be able to cover all of the detail that you need to make an informed decision. So here's a couple things that will help you out so you are ready to go to the polls with information to make an informed decision when you cast your vote. The first thing I'm going to tell you about is that you can print a sample ballot. The ballot that will be your specific ballot at your polling location. Remember, I mentioned that each polling location has the ballot that matches that neighborhood. That's the levy choices for that area, for that school district, for that village, that city, and the candidates that are specific to that local area. You want to find out what will be on your ballot and not be surprised when you walk in and think, I don't know any of these people. You can actually go to, it's the same spot where you find your polling place. So the first thing you do is type in your address and find your polling place. And then one of the options you'll be looking at on the screen is view a sample ballot. Go ahead and print that out. Write on it. Mark your ideas. You can use that as your starter sheet to say, these are the people I need to research. These are the issues I need to research. You've got a starter outline right there on that sample ballot. Now, you can bring that sample ballot with you to the polls. You can have it all marked so you know already what you picked. You can't cast that. That's your scratch sheet. That's not the official one they're going to give you at the polls, but it's still useful. Bring it in with you. Use it as your cheat sheet. You can go down your ballot. It will take you less time to vote because you already know what it says. And then make sure you bring it with you. You can leave it in the voting booth for someone else to pick the same choices that you did. So make sure that you print it out. Make your notes. Then take it home with you so that you'll leave a nice clean voting booth for the next voter. Now there's another way that you can find out a little bit more about your local candidates, and that's right here at Waycross. Since the 1980s, Waycross Community Media has hosted live election forums. And in those forums, voters can, in the old days, voters used to call in with their questions. Nowadays, voters can email in their questions when we're live. We have them scheduled again this year on Wednesday, October 6th and on Thursday, October 14th. Are 2 evenings where we will be live on the air with different candidates to make sure that the first time the voter sees their name on the ballot is not the first time they've seen their name. That you have a chance to email me your questions when we're live on the air, to ask your candidates and just listen to their statements. Just listen to them answer questions and kind of keep note of any differences that you hear, things that you like, things that you have questions about. This is your chance to get to hear from them. Now, those programs will be recorded, of course, and rerun and put online. So the Waycross election forums for the local races, for the races in Green Hills, Forest Park, Springfield Township, and Coleraine Township, also for the Board of Education in Winton Woods and the Northwest local school districts, those races, we will have the candidates right here in this studio in October, and you'll have a chance to email questions live or watch that program again online or on cable. And that will help you get a little bit more information about your local candidates. Make sure you watch the Waycross Community Media Facebook page for details about these, and share that information with your friends, because a lot of people aren't sure, how do I find information about my local candidates? I want to thank you for joining me for this chat about how we're all going to be ready for the November election, and we'll be ready to cast our informed vote and be part of the decision making of the neighborhoods that we live in. I'm Dana Gagnon, Government Programming Coordinator at Waycross Community Media, and I'll see you next time.